Hello and welcome back to part 2 of my hand history review of the $10.80 Bounty Hunters tournament that I played on GG and won. The first part was sort of earlier stage in the tournament. Now this part is going to be sort of middle stage to the tournament / sort of after the money, where the bounties are started to get a little bit bigger and more into play. So yeah, I'll try and make this video a little bit quicker than the last one. So yeah, let's take a look at the first hand that I've got for us. Okay, so I'm only going to do 4 hands this time round rather than the 5. And again, we're going to take the same format. We're going to be using Pt.2 as you can see here, for the pre-flop charts, just to take a little look at where we think we were, whether we made the right decision or not, and what GTO says we should have done in these spots. And then also I'll just put a little bit of feel into it through the games as well. So yeah, let's take a little look at the first one. I must say, I don't think I shine myself in too much glory with these hands that I've picked out on this time round. So let's have a look. Okay, so we have 6.7 million in chips. Again, the big blinds I don't know how to do. So 85 big blinds. So this is probably a reason why I probably went ahead and played this. We're in the small blind with 80 bigs. So let's have a look, see what happens. We decide to limp. So let's take a little look at what it thinks we should be doing blind v blind from a GTO point of view. So we're 80 big blinds. We are in the small blind. And here we go. So is 10-6 suited? Is it in there? It is in there. It's a raise sometimes. It's a call other times. So looks like we made the right decision here. But you can see how wide our range is here with 80 big blinds. It looks like we should be playing pretty much everything. 9-4 off, 8-4 off, 9-3 off, 9-2 off, and all the kind of obvious 7 deuce off. All the obvious hands aren't in there. So to be honest, I'm quite pleased that we made a limp here. So that's all good. What does our opponent do? He is looking like he's got about 40 big blinds or something. So he puts in the raise. So let's have a little look what we should be doing in the small blind versus the raise against the big blind. We have got is 10-6 suited in here. We have got 10-6 suited. Yes, it says we should actually 3-bet it some portion of the time. But to be honest, at my skill level, I probably am not going to be 3-betting that. Also, I don't really want to play a 3-bet blind v blind bloated pot out of position. But obviously, all the obvious candidates are 3-bets. I think I'm finding a lot of 3-bets here, or even just sticking it in sometimes. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's a good play. But yeah, a lot of calls. We're calling 50% of this range here, so that's looking pretty good. So yeah, let's continue. So I think we made an okay decision here. I think his range here, thinking about his range as well, he's probably, so if we change it actually and have a little look actually and see what the range is. So here position in the big blind versus a limp from the small blind. So let's have a little look. So he is supposed to be raising a lot by the looks of it. Actually, maybe it's kind of like 50-50. You've got everything in his range, by the way, which is super interesting. That's him off 80 big blinds, but actually we've got that wrong. He's got 37 bigs. Let's just change that to be 40 bigs. Just see where he's at with it. Okay, so it doesn't change too much. He still has everything in his range. A lot of his raising up stuff is I'd imagine for him, I don't think he finds it with 3-2 odds unless he's really stubborn, one of these players that hates the steal attempt or hates to surrender their big blind, that kind of player. I don't think he finds these, but these are all in any of his ace-x I get, any of this sort of stuff around here, king 9, 9, 9, all the pairs, I think find all of that. So yeah, interesting. So his range versus my range there. Let's have a look, see what I do. Do a stubborn call, and the flop comes 3 deuce deuce. So To be honest, I feel like maybe this hits both of us for sure. As we saw, we all have a lot of this three deuces, 5-3, three deuce or whatever. So let's take it back to me with my AT and what my range is. So yeah, you can see how much deuce X have I got. Actually, not heaps. Not heaps at all. I think he has more than me here. So maybe this range actually does favor our opponent here a little bit more. But let's carry on. I opt to check. Goes in and puts. There's a half pot bet. So now probably makes an easy decision for us. I think I can't remember what I did in game. I do go ahead and make the call, which looking at the ranges from before, I don't love. I mean, of course, what have I got? Any 6x, any 6 coming on the turn is good for me. Any 10 coming on the turn for me. So I've got 6 outs. So I've got like roughly probably 25% equity if I'm behind on the turn. That's behind only to a 3. So maybe the call is okay. I'm quite happy. I think I could have found a fold for sure. But let's see what happens here. Another deuce obviously brings the unlikeliness that he has a deuce in his hand now. I think he's just repping quads right now, maybe. But it could have any of those pairs that obviously raised up pre. So we barreled again. Was that another roughly just under half pot? And I do opt to fold. And you can see I immediately rabbit hunted because I'm a fish. But yeah. Tough one, I think. I think it's an easy getaway on the turn. I think at that point he's just repping any overcard. So obviously any of his ace high beats me here. Any of his king high beats me. Anything above a 10 beats me. Jack Queen King, which he's got a lot of for sure. Obviously he has some 3x. He has those small pocket pairs. So to be honest, I think it's an easy fold on the turn once he barrels. For sure. But it was just interesting to see at the start of that hand where he was sat. So yeah, one we lost there. Don't think I shot myself in too much glory. Maybe we could have probably limp folded, but maybe some of you guys can let me know. Have a little look and see whether you think I played it poorly or not. Okay, so another blind v blind. So again, another limp. So let's take a little look. How many chips we've got here? 20 bigs. So let's take a little look. So we've got 20 big blinds in the small blind to go in. So we had our actual hand here was ace 5 off, which apparently is a pure shove. So we're shoving all of this ace X off. Any small pocket pairs find a shove here. We're sort of limping a lot of our range, calling a lot of our range here to complete the small blind here. And then we're raising up, not much, mainly our nutted hands by the looks of it. Ace, king, queen, queen, jack, all this type of stuff finds raises. So our strength seems to find raises. Probably stuff that probably wants to jam here, like 4-4-5-5, probably because it gets folds a lot of the time. So we just realize our equity immediately and we have a lot of fold equity potentially here. However, I will say here, he doesn't cover us, so maybe that does count, because sometimes you lose a lot of fold equity, or I find you lose a lot of fold equity in bounty tournaments. So jamming hands like this, if the guy covered us massively in the big blind, I feel like shoving 4s, shoving 3s may not be great, because we might get called off by any king jack, queen 10 type stuff that wants to try and take our bounty down. But that wasn't the case this time. We go for the limp, which our GTO isn't the best decision with the ace 5. Apparently it's a pure shove. But let's take a look. We get the check. And again, another deuce paired board. Again, I promise this wasn't on purpose. Let's have a little look. So he does first. So he goes and leads one big blind, so small into this like a third pot. Just over a third pot. But let's take a look at his range. But he's got 20 big blinds. So 20 big blinds. He's in the big blind. Versus a raise. From the small blind, so blind v blind action again. So ranges is super duper wide. So this blind v blind action, I actually personally hate it, because people could have any kind of combination of cards here, and it becomes really, really difficult and really hard to put people on certain hands. I like it when it goes raise from middle position, and then I defend out of the big blind, and then the board becomes this kind of like low, unconnected, sort of like really, really dry boards, which I think is the correct term. I can kind of come over the top of any C bets from people from middle position in those and rep the smaller, rep all this basically, rep all the 9/8s and the 6/4s and the Jack 6 offs and the kind of 10/7s and all this kind of stuff that flops well on those boards. But blind v blind, I find just a lot more difficult to deal with. So he goes ahead and leads. So obviously, we looked at his range. He's got some deuce X and stuff in here. He's got 4 deuce, 3 all this kind of stuff is in here that connects with this board. Some 9x, sure, I'm guessing king 9, queen 9 is all in there. So yeah, so he can go ahead and lead because he's repping that. I'll go ahead and make the call. Probably because I'm just thinking similar to the previous hand. I'm probably thinking ace high is probably okay here. Against everything that whiffed in his range. His range is wide, so he could have whiffed. But now we narrow it down slightly to put him on maybe any backdoor flush draw stuff. Obviously he's got some deuce sets, but obviously he's a lot of 9s, so I think he's trying to rep. So he then checks back the turn. So I'm always unsure when people do this on it. So maybe someone can tell me whether what this means typically. I sometimes think it's quite weak. They go, I'll have a stab at it, and then on the turn, check back, which then for me sometimes probably caps their range ever so slightly here. Now I'm thinking, okay, well, do I think you would have checked your trips here? Probably not. I think you probably would have carried on, especially with the flush draw out there with the club. So I don't now think he's got that. So maybe his 9, I don't think would do that either. So I'm now a little bit confused, but we'll see. Which is probably why I then attacked that weakness, thinking, okay, well, I think my ace high might be good here. I have some showdown value, and I also think I might be good. I don't think he's got a 6. I don't think he's got a deuce. Both the boards paired, so 2 pairs with an ace kicker here. He's got a lot of his range doesn't have that. A lot of his range doesn't hit that. So I went for it. What sizing did I use out of interest there? So I'm go back. So he checks. It's 1.1. So I bet small. So maybe I probably could have gone bigger here. I don't think I'm trying to fold anything out. So I think if I go bigger, he's calling this with a 9. He's calling a bigger hand with a 9. Any 6, obviously, he's calling. Any deuce, obviously, he's calling. So I think if I go too big, I don't think I achieve what I'm trying to achieve. I think I'm going to get called. I just don't really want to get to showdown. So I've gone small here to say, bet small, bet it out there. And if he's got nothing, I think he folds up majority of the time. I think he's quite like, he's either calling or he's folding. I know it sounds so silly to say, but it may as well bet small. And then if he calls it, I've lost the minimum. Whereas if I bet really big, he was going to call anyway with his 9 or his 6 or his deuce, or he was going to raise over the top. So I've also given him a chance here with the smaller bet to raise over the top of me as well, and then I can get away from it, and I haven't spent too much of my stack. So I think that was probably my thought process there. Again, if someone on here or anyone watching the video thinks I could have done something different there, I'm all ears. So I've got 20 big blinds with ace queen suited. Okay, so we have a limp from EP, and then this guy kind of almost ignores the limp here. He just goes ahead and just opens to 2, or sort of raises to 2. So he's like min click this, which is always interesting. I always like to ISO this. So if I was him here, I probably would have just clicked this to 4 or 5 big blinds, especially if I had a hand I wanted to do it with. So he kind of just ignored the limp here, which was interesting. So ace queen of 20 in the small versus a raise versus middle position. So let's take a look. So we got 20 big blinds. We are in small blind facing a raise. We'll ignore that limp for now. In the low jack, right? So under the gun, limped, under the gun +1, yeah. So what do we do? So ace queen suited is an all-in. So I actually thought at this I probably wasn't making the right decision when I chose this hand for review. That's why I kind of picked it. I thought I was wrong, but actually I am shoving a lot of this. I wonder if the limp would change anything in this range. I wonder if, I'm not sure if anyone would know, then again, let me know. But let's have a look. Let's speed this up. There we go. So I do put in the 3-bet. Sorry, I'll put in the 3-bet here. Which again isn't. I should be 3-betting not a lot, apparently. I should be either calling or jamming here most of the time. So we do opt to 3-bet. We sort of 3x it just a bit over. I actually think I could probably go a little bit larger here, potentially. But off of 20, I'm not sure. Maybe this is okay. But like I said, the play was to rip, but I did 3-bet. 3-bet off 20 is probably not what I should be doing, so it's probably the wrong decision. We do face a jam. Now, let's have a little look. Let's have a look versus, so my range here versus a 4-bet all in. Yeah. So 20 big blinds, hero position, small blind versus a 4-bet all in. So I don't know whether this is set to a cold 4-bet or not. So, but even so, this is interesting because apparently I'm folding ace king and I'm calling bottom of my range, bottom pairs, sorry, and aces. So I don't know whether I got this wrong or I put anything in wrong. I'm not sure, but that is super interesting. Now I don't show myself in a great light here. I mean, I don't even cover for the bounty. So, and it's like, I don't know, maybe in game I had a read on this guy. He's only Pt.2. I can't see his 3-bet stats here, or his 4-bet stats here on the replayer. Maybe I had a read on him in game, but as this guy, OMG, I know. I don't know why I called this here, and I absolutely faced kings, which I guess he was kind of telling me, right, that he had kings and aces with his 4-bet jam, because people don't typically do that with the bluff at all or ever. And I absolutely scam kings with the 2 aces on the flop. So yeah, I think bad play. So got lucky to win this tournament for sure, especially with plays like that. I mean, this is why we review them. This is why we look back at them and learn from them. So yeah, I think next time we're sort of facing 3-bet, goes 4-bet all in. It's kind of limited to aces. At least ace king suited, probably. I know it wasn't in there. I'm probably not folding ace king suited. I'm probably not folding queens either. But as you can see from the chart, I am completely incorrect because people aren't 4-bet jamming weird bluffs too often. Maybe they are early on in the tournament. And maybe you can justify this call if I covered for the bounty, because he has got $100 bounty. So maybe that does justify it. But all in all, I think poor decision from me here. Okay, there was only a few hands there from the tournament. Wanted to keep this video a lot shorter, just to cover some of the key hands. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If I could ask you to like, subscribe, again, follow me on TikTok as well. I'm going to be uploading snippets from these hand reviews and also any other poker content I can kind of get my hands on or think about doing, I will post on there. But yeah, thank you very much, and cheers.